Hello, kindly people of YouTube. Punk Rock Fairy Princess here. Wow, I almost forgot how I normally intro these videos, but it's fine. It's good. Okay, yay. I haven't done this in a while. Anyway, so, I haven't posted in like a month. Oops. It's exams are happening and it's a lot of fun, and I slept like 14 hours last night because I've been very sleep deprived lately, and wow, university is a joy. I'm serious, it actually really is. It's just I don't schedule things well and I procrastinate, so yay. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. As I may have mentioned, probably mentioned before, I'm Dutch. I mean, like, I live in Canada and I'm Canadian, but like I'm also Dutch because my mom's a Dutch immigrant and also my dad's parents are Dutch immigrants. It's very Dutch. Anyway, so you may possibly have heard about this thing that people in Holland do. I'm gonna call it Holland just for simplicity's sake because that's what I know. That I know English-speaking people call it Holland. I know that technically Holland only really refers to the two provinces, North Holland and Zuid Holland. So any Dutch people, please don't attack me. I'm just gonna call it Holland, even though I know that it's not really called Holland. Just, yeah. So, where was I forgot. Anyway, there's this thing that people in Holland, right, that's where I was, because then I need to explain why I use the word Holland instead of the Netherlands. The Netherlands is 4 syllables long, Holland is 2. So, yeah. So basically the Dutch equivalent of Santa Claus is Sinterklaas. He's also based on St. Nicholas, just as Santa Claus is, except the presents are given on December the 5th instead of on December the 25th. So it's very much separated from Christmas itself. Of course, with globalization and the imperialism of American culture over the rest of the world, basically, Santa Claus is becoming a bigger thing in Holland, but Sinterklaas is still very much the main St. Nicholas derivative, whatever you want to call him. Now, what is controversial about the whole Sinterklaas thing is Zwarte Piet, which literally translates to Black Pete, so I'm sure you can see where the controversy rests in that regard. So, who is Zwarte Piet and what the hell? It's basically, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Zwarte Piet is basically Sinterklaas's helper, which I've seen a lot of like English-speaking newspapers and shit call him his helper, and that's not really what he is. I mean, that's kind of how people view him, like, presently. The way he is referred to in like all Dutch literature, like Sinterklaas songs, etc., is he is Sinterklaas's knecht. It is most commonly translated in English as servant, or knave. The Cambridge Dictionary says that it is a male servant, especially one employed as a valet, or a valet. It's valet, isn't it? So basically, when celebrating Sinterklaas, you have a bunch of people who are dressed up in this, like, valet. They have, like, poofy pants and, like, a beret with, like, a feather in it, and they wear wigs of curly black hair and basically paint their faces a dark brown and have exaggerated lipstick and earrings, and yes, it looks just as bad as it sounds. It looks almost identical to blackface. Like, I know there's a lot of people who are saying, like, oh, it's not racist, and I'm just like, when I initially started researching this topic, I was just like, I mean, it can't be that bad, right? Right? Like, maybe it was racist back then, but I'm sure there's other stuff that is involved. I was very much in a pro-Zwarte Piet stance when I started researching this, and I've kind of changed my mind. The first reference to Sinterklaas having a helper for, yeah, is in 1800, and there's nothing really more. His race is not specified. So the first reference to a black helper is in 1836, and it was likely a tradition earlier than that was written because Joseph Albertus Alberdingk Time remembers that when he was about 8 years old, they talked about the Pieter Meknecht, who was black with frizzy hair. He uses a different word, which I'm not going to say because I know it's Dutch and it's probably not as bad as the equivalent in English, but I'm uncertain exactly on what terms in Dutch are racist. Because I know it in English because I've lived in Canada my entire life, but In Dutch, I am a little bit more uncertain about which words are bad and which words are just kind of eh. So we're gonna go on the safe side and just not say it. Since this Josephus was born in 1820, and he says it was around the time he was 8, we can assume it was around the time, like around 1828, 1829. But where this tradition truly takes hold is in 1850 when Jan Schenkman, I've been taking German and now it's messing up my Dutch pronunciation. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's fine. Anyway, Jan Schenkman publishes his book, his picture book, Sint-Nicolaas en zijn Knecht. And in this, the Knecht is not named, but clearly portrayed as a black helper who is dressed kind of like a sailor. And then in the 3rd edition, he takes on the appearance that he is most commonly seen as today, which is the page outfit, basically. Now, his inspiration for this type of outfit is debated. There's a possible relation to the 15-year-old slave from Nubia. Nubia. Okay, yes, Nubia. Sometimes I'm not sure what the English equivalent of Dutch country names are. Okay, it's fine. To the 15-year-old slave from Nubia that Princess Mariana bought in Cairo back in... the newspaper clipping is from 1850, but I'm not sure if this was an old story or whatever. It doesn't talk about her buying him, it just says that, oh yes, remember that black boy that the princess bought? Yes, now we're going to talk about him. Also, many rich merchants of the time would have like a black servant person in like the background of their portraits. His reputation and image also kind of changed throughout the decades, centuries. Initially, he was kind of like a boogeyman type character. So was Sinterklaas, by the way. He wasn't like the jolly Santa. He still isn't like the jolly Santa. Like, currently, he is just a very kind of noble, kind figure. Well, back in the day, he was like scary. Like, if you were bad, they would literally kidnap you and bring you to Spain. That was what the big bag was for. Like, sure, it had like presents for the good children, the bad children would just go into the bag and back to Spain. There's also the roux, which is like a bundle of sticks that either was given as a gift to bad children or they were beaten with it. Yes, very fun. So, until the late 20th century, he was a submissive, not very smart. He spoke broken Dutch, and he was kind of just like a funny servant to Sinterklaas. Sometimes he was also portrayed as like a clever jack of all trades, like the line in one of Sinterklaas' songs, alles ziet die slimme Piet, zich vergissen kan hij niet. So, like, the clever Pete sees everything and he never gets mixed up, never gets confused. Then with the immigration of more people from Suriname after that country was decolonized, Zwarte Piet began to speak with a Surinamese accent, which, very fun. Yay, good, awesome. Anyway, now he's a more friendly figure. Instead of his bag being for kidnapping bad children and bringing them to Spain, it holds candy and paper notes, also known as strooigoed, because he stroois them, which means to throw them in this motion. Yeah, I don't know the English word for that. Also, he doesn't carry a roux anymore. He's kind of just like this funny, clever... There's like a whole bunch of them. They all have their specific characters. Like originally it was just one servant. Now it's like a whole bunch of them and they all have specific names. Like there's Pieter Baas, which is like the head one, or Hoofdpiet, depends. There's Pakjes Piet, who is like, Pakjes are like present. That's his job, and there's all these different characters. If you want to know more, watch Sinterklaas Journaal, which I used to watch when I was little all the time. It was great. And there's like always some hijinks they're getting up to. So the racism debate, which is the point of this video. So the debate has come up before. It came up in the 80s, even as early as the 60s. So obviously the figure of Zwarte Piet has racist history. Like, there is no denying that. There's definitely racism going on. The thing is, the way it is currently done, I don't think it's in a deliberately racist way. Because I remember I was always told that Zwarte Piet had like dark skin because he went down the chimney and therefore had like, you know, soot on his face. Obviously, if one goes down chimneys, you don't have to put on a wig and the earrings and the like big red lipstick. So, I mean, clearly The story of the he's black because he goes down chimneys, I researched this and I couldn't figure out when that kind of started coming in. But I think it's probably just a thing people made up to make it seem less racist. Like, that's the best idea that I could come up with why they would have that story. I think the people who do it don't think it's racist, especially the white people who do it. Like, there's even people who are not white who are totally chill with it. I think banning it is a little bit, banning it federally, I think, is a bit too much, because if you ban it federally, there will be so many more protests than there are now, and there are quite a few protests already about this whole thing. So I think what currently the Dutch government is doing is just letting each region decide what they want to do, which I think is the best, because there are some regions that it'll take a little bit longer for them to ban it, and do I wish that they'd ban it in the whole country? Yes, I really do, because it's racist. It has racist history. The way they're currently trying to make it less racist is there's the regenboogpiets, the rainbow Piet, basically, is basically exactly the same as Zwarte Piet, except just different colors on their face. Like, they still had the over-exaggerated red lipstick and the curly wig and the earrings, which now are not really, like, associated with not being white, but back in the day, having earrings was definitely an association people had. And yeah, they're basically just, it's exactly like Zwarte Piet, except they're like blue or pink or orange or something. Yes. What honestly I think is one of the best solutions people have come up with is the roetveegpiet, which literally means the soot dirty Piet. I don't know how to translate that. And basically it's just a Zwarte Piet, except like it still has the same outfit, not usually the wig or the earrings or the over-exaggerated red lipstick, which I think is honestly, yeah, obviously the blackface thing is bad, but also the over-exaggerated red lips, like, that's high-key blackface. Like, come on, that's one of the most, the big parts of blackface is the blackface and then also the over-exaggerated red lips. Like, those are the two key ingredients for blackface, and Zwarte Piet has those two. So the roetveegpiet does not have that, and it's just like you have some splotches on your face that make it look like you went down a chimney, which is what it's supposed to be. Well, what it's supposed to be, what it's supposed to be according to the story people made up to make themselves feel less racist as it is Zwarte Piet. Yes, so does this video have a real conclusion? No, it doesn't. But I found that a lot of like American and Canadian and non-Dutch people kind of weighing in on this don't really know very much about it. They just like see a picture and they're just like, oh my gosh, good heavens. So I'm not calling people who do Zwarte Piet racist. My family did Zwarte Piet when my siblings were younger. Like, I remember the first time I was in Holland for sinterklaas, I was like 4 maybe, and it was very cool. We got to see Zwarte Piet, we got to see sinterklaas. It was very exciting. So I'm not saying the people who do Zwarte Piet are racist. I'm just saying that the whole tradition in itself has racist origins, and yeah, it's just it should be phased out. Like, let's be honest, it's not the best tradition. It's not the most important part of sinterklaas. And you can have pizza that aren't black. Like, them being black is not a core part of who they are. No, they're just like fun, and they give you candy and they play tricks on people. That's what they do. Okay? They don't have to have a ridiculous blackface makeup thing going on. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I didn't really have a script for this. I just had notes. Yay. This is one of the most controversial videos I've done, most definitely. Yeah. So, yes. Zwarte Piet is a thing, and it's not great. And it should be phased out. I just said that. Okay. Yep. Okay. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll be posting more videos because I don't have school. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.